Hi, and welcome to Cooking with Rachel. Today we're going to show you how to make some chocolate chip cookies. I know that everybody knows how to make a chocolate chip cookie, and I used to make one that was okay, but it wasn't great. And then one day my son went to a play date, and he came home and said, Mrs. Stewart makes the very best chocolate chip cookies. So I asked Mrs. Stewart for the recipe, and then I made the very best chocolate chip cookies. And now you can make the very best chocolate chip cookies too. They're super easy to make and they come together in a jiffy. So the first thing we're gonna do is, I make my chocolate chip cookies in my KitchenAid. I know, the classic white, but it's 28 years old and it just still runs like a champ. So we keep it around. I really like it. I'm using the paddle attachment instead of the whisk attachment. You could use the whisk attachment too, but the paddle does great, especially when it gets the flour in it. It's a little bit heavier to move. We're gonna start with 2 sticks of butter. And I know what you're gonna ask me. You're gonna say, can we use some margarine or some shortening? And the answer to that is no, you can't. Not if you want it to taste good. So we're gonna use 2 sticks of butter. Julia Child knew exactly what she was talking about. Butter is where it's at, and it's gonna taste really good in here. So it's worth all of the calories, trust me. So 2 sticks of butter in there. Okay. And then to the butter, we're gonna cream some sugars. I'm gonna start with the brown sugar. You need a cup of each, a cup of brown and a cup of white. The brown sugar gives it the nice chewiness that you want in the cookie. So put that in. And what I do is I just open the bag all the way, and then I just push the brown sugar against the side of my cup, and then I have a perfectly packed brown sugar. And then I have a vacuum sealer, so you can vacuum seal this close just right in the same bag. So that's what I do, and then it stays nice and soft. Then we've got our white sugar. So a cup of each. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and cream those together. And then I'm going to add 2 eggs. And incorporate those. It just takes a minute. Then I'm going to add my salt, my soda, and my vanilla. So with the vanilla, I use some Mexican vanilla. It has a really nice flavor. And I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And if you don't have Mexican vanilla and you're not planning a trip to Mexico anytime soon, this is a good alternative. It's Nielsen and Massey, and this is their vanilla bean paste. And it's really yummy too. So that's a good alternative. And then I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. And I used to use iodized salt for my baking because it measured more precisely. But you know, who are we kidding? I just measured this in my hand. So kosher salt is fine for me. But I do use a measuring spoon for my baking soda. Probably because I can't fit my hand in there. It doesn't pour out quite as easy. So a teaspoon of baking soda, and then I'm going to mix that together. Now classically in recipes, you'd put those with the flour, you'd mix them with the flour and then mix it together, but I don't really care about all that. It's all fine. So just stirred that all together, and now 3 cups of flour. And again, you're going to notice that I kind of have a measuring problem. When I first put this recipe on the blog, someone said to me, oh, these come out really flat. And I was like, they do? And then I said, well, how are you measuring your flour? And she said, you know, like you're supposed to. You take a spoon and dip it in and you spoon it into the cup and then you measure it. Yeah, I don't measure like that either. So I just kind of put it down into my flour and then I just kind of toss it off like that. If you do it the right way, you're probably going to need about 1/4 cup more, but this works fine for me. So there we go. Now we're going to stir that in. And once that's incorporated, you're basically finished. All you have to do is add your chocolate chips and stir them together and you're done. Okay, there we go. There, that looks awesome. So, all I have to do is just take it off my paddle. And then scoop it on my tray, pop it in the oven. And I bake mine all on convection. So I can bake 3 racks of cookies at a time. So I can just do this whole batch at one time. So it really only takes me 10 minutes to make cookies. Perfect, huh? So I'm just gonna use this scoop. Scoops have numbers, but I don't know what this is. But it's about a tablespoon. And it's perfect. And once you scoop the dough and put it down, then it's perfectly round and they're all even. And I like that, so. And then once I get them all put on the trays, I'll bake them on convection on a 350 degrees for 10 minutes. Sometimes on convection you have to turn your oven down 25 degrees. You'll know if you need to because it'll start to burn the edges of whatever you're baking. So if you do need to make that adjustment, go ahead. You could just try 325 if you wanted, but you might have to cook them just a hair longer, maybe 12 minutes. Okay, now they're all ready to go. We're just going to pop them in the oven, get them cooking. Okay, so our cookies are done. Just going to go ahead and take them out of the oven. Ooh. They're beautiful, brown. They smell heavenly. Just the way that we like them. Crispy on the outside, gonna be tender on the inside. Just nothing better than a hot chocolate chip cookie. So try this recipe at home. It's super easy to put together. It only takes 10 minutes and then you have 36 cookies done all at once. And then kids will come over to your house and go home and tell their mother that you make the best chocolate chip cookies. You can find this recipe and over 200 other recipes on my blog, cookingwithrachel101.com. See you next time.